directly trying to sabotage your work, because it's now the second day since you issued a directive on matters to do with the Del Monte Kakuzi land, the issue that has been there, the issue of insecurity, and nothing seems to have happened. So the question is, perhaps, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the directives that you issue at Jukwaa la Usalama are actually adhered to?
Well, maybe to help, I think, Clement, it will help us to be very specific on what has happened in the 2 days in Del Monte, because then I don't want to make a generalized response. What do you mean what has happened in the last 2 days?
Yeah, the directive that you issued concerning those who illegally occupy the land, that they should vacate. They are still on the same pieces of land.
Thank you. Now, I basically directed that the police must ensure that theft, which was happening in Del Monte and Kakuzi, is dealt with. As for people who could be occupying land already, that matter cannot be resolved by a directive alone. You have to engage the people to understand what they're happening, and I don't think you understood me on that. I didn't talk about the settlement itself. Those people who are settling inside. Those who are settling inside could have land-related disputes, including this group that was claiming also parcel of land known as what do we call Residents Association of Kandara Residents Association. You know, we have a policy also in government that you can't just wake up one morning and evict people, so there has to be an engagement. But what particularly I was concerned is incitement by leaders for young people and citizens to go and steal from the Del Monte and Kakuzi and invade it. And then I said that they should work together with the lands ministry to resolve the land-related issues. And I remember I made it clearly that we believe that issues of land can be resolved peacefully without resorting to violence. Ours is the Ministry of Interior is to provide, through the IGs, to provide security even when such conflicts are being resolved. So I would be concerned if there are people who still are going to steal from the farm without restraint, and if the police officers were not able to contain people who are going to the farm to steal. What I was warning our leaders against is the politics of populism that target investors, because it's counterproductive, particularly because, you know, these are big farms that are contributing to the economy of Murang'a, Machakos, Kiambu, and the rest of the country.
Thank you, Waziri. You alleged that there is resurgence of Mugiki in the region. Do you have
And then the 7/7 protests, we saw a phenomenon that was not familiar in this region, banning of police stations from Kikuyu, in Dagoretti police station in Kikuyu, and then the banning of the court in Kikuyu, banning of the administrative units, banning of police station in Olkalau, banning of supermarkets in Nyeri here, twice actually, looting businesses, looting of supermarket here, not banning, but banning of the supermarket in Meru, banning of buildings in OTC. But I'm not talking about even the Nairobi incident. Just think about Central Thika, lootings that happened in Thika almost a whole night up to, and so forth. So there has been, and when you follow up, most of the arrested people were operating in sort of a gang with sort of leadership that is, I cannot say it is the leadership is national in nature, or basically all county-wide in nature. But you can see pockets of young people grouped together and gang activities coming in. And during Mandamano, you could see the level of the behavior of those who are engaged in this. And in Olkalau, during our Jukwaa la Usalama, most of the people say that they weren't really coming from, they were coming from the next constituencies, counties, and so forth. So, and they came in lorries. For example, people were moved from Limuru to go and burn a police station in Kikuyu in a very organized manner. And you know, we arrested those people and charged them for terror. Despite their all complaints that they have met, we took the legal action to make sure that they are charged. So my message to the people of Mount Kenya is that we have seen what sects and organized gangs can do for community. And in a statement that I saw some people taking out of context, I give credit to President Kibaki and his minister then, John Michuki, for taking a very firm stand against gangs. And I say that as a cabinet secretary, we must learn from those who went before us and understand that if it was not for the sacrifice they made at that point in time to become tough on matter of security, perhaps we would be paying double taxes in such areas like here. You will be paying to an organized criminal gang and at the same time to government. And we don't want to go there just for short-term political interest.
Yeah, Waziri, just to come in on the same, sorry. Of course, as a country, we know where we are headed in about a little and 2 years' time. How deep-rooted is this problem of gangs, and they are used by politicians maybe to score interests? That is the first question. And how deep-rooted is it, or rather dangerous it will be, as we head to the elections?
Sorry, you know, here it's cold, so you can see I'm getting tea. So I hope you don't take any. First, let me say that the problem of gangs is not a Mount Kenya problem. It's a national problem. So let's start with, for me, addressing the problem of gangs here is the same way I did in Kitale, you know. I did exactly the same in Kitale. I did exactly the same in Nakuru, where we know properly documented gangs in Nakuru, where you have names like Confirm, Watizeti, and the like in Nakuru. You know this in Nairobi with gangs like Gaza and the like. And also, of course, there's some splinter groups of former Mungiki and so forth all over the place. We know that Kitengela also faces very serious problems of gangs there. I mentioned this same Panga Boys is a form of a gangs in Coast. There was a time even MRC wanted to rear its head again, and we had to do something about it. We still have some gangs in Kisumu. We have gangs in Mumia. We had to do a lot of work to dismantle. You remember the in Mumias, which was completely disrupted, I think, of a former chief, because let me say this without any fear of contradiction, that there is a correlation between heightened activities of gangs with link to political activities. So as you go closer to elections, Bwana Kamau, the fear is that these gangs, and you know politicians don't want to own them, they want to hire them. So for every assignment, they are putting themselves into at the disposal of political leaders. As long as the highest bidder can pay something, they can come, you know, provide in court security, intimidate your opponents, do the things they need to do to harass people. So the danger is there, and that's why in every of my county visits, particularly in areas where the intelligence report is clear about existence of gangs or gang-like activity or goons, we have been very, very particular in the security meeting to ensure that these people are arrested and charged, and these gangs are dismantled. So we are going. We know we can arrest as many people, but we will go for their leaders. We'll go for the organizers. We'll go for the financiers. And as I was speaking to the chiefs today, I told them we owe it to future generation that we keep the country sane and we keep it together by ensuring that these gangs and goons are not operating freely. There's something that's going on there in Nairobi and Mavoko and the environment, which is not very right. But we have found also that in some of the places where they thrive, there is the support of the security officers. Some of the security officers are complacent. So we have taken legal action against also the security officers and all the collaborators within the security sector so that we can dismantle this. So I want to promise the people of Mount Kenya that we will not rest until we see that these gangs are dismantled completely, but also that we are not going to take for granted the possibility of politicians using it for purpose of next elections. And that's why we have to deal with it now. What I've told the chiefs is that in their chiefs barasas, they must have, because chiefs are locals, assistant chiefs are locals, they come from that community, that they must facilitate a honest conversation within the community as to what do the people want. Do the people want a place where politicians will pay some people, cause chaos, embolden them, and then after elections they become monsters that cannot be controlled within the community? So my message is to feel what the people go through and then to see how best we can reorganize the human resource for proper response. By the time I go to Nairobi, if someone tells me, oh yeah, there is still a problem in Nyeri, I know what be like if I stayed there for the last 4 months just waiting for briefs and making a phone call to county commissioner. So it's important for me to be here to have a personal feel of what's going.
Waziri.
Yes, Mwena.
This problem of gangs, I know you know it won't go away if you don't set an example. It's been months since the July protests, the June protests. We've seen a lot of destruction, including the law codes, as you keep on mentioning. But what are you actually doing to bring not only the perpetrators but even the masterminders, the planners, the politicians that you say? There is no even a single politician has ever been arrested since those the protests.
Are you sure?
I'm sure, except maybe we saw, for example, in Trans Nzoia, Governor Tembea was brought, but it was a different issue. It was all about, I think, corruption cases. But as far as violence is concerned, destruction of property is concerned, we've not seen them. But we keep on hearing names. But are there investigations going on currently? Are there politicians on police radar as we speak?
Unless you have a particular one in mind. But the truth is that we have a member of parliament of Embu County was taken to court, charged for terror. The member of parliament for Naivasha taken to court. The court stalled the charging process. There has been political activists, a good number of them have been charged for terror. By the way, I can tell you without fear of contradiction that because of what we did what the National Police Service did between 25th of June and 7th of July, there was significant reduction of the planning activities. For example, the burning that happened in Kikuyu and Kiambu never happened after we charged those people between 25th and 7th. And so having arrested 1,500 people and about 500 and something were charged already. So you must give the National Police Service a credit, and of course DPP and the multi-agency team and so forth. A number of people are in court facing serious criminal charges. A few of them are still under investigations, and I believe that as soon as the DCI completes its investigations, and DPP agrees with him or tighten all the parts, more people will be charged. Sometimes, minor, there is something in law that is called adducible evidence. As we speak now, I may know it's you, minor, who did it, and everybody even saw you in Nyeri, that you are the one who did something. But unless we can get evidence, either video or a witness or your bank accounts or whatever. So sometimes the intelligence report may point to you, but until we reach a threshold, because intelligence report cannot stand the test of a court, because it will be argued that it is illegally obtained evidence. So there must be evidence that is admissible in a court of law before you can charge somebody. So we can be all of us sure that so and so. But when I call you and when I call the people who are saying it's Mwena who did and tell them to record a statement, they tell you, no. You know, Mwena has gangs. He may come for us when you are not around. So sometimes you may never get witnesses and so forth. So that delays the process. But I can assure you, many people will be charged in a court of law. And I am almost confident that a good number of them will be convicted because the evidence is overwhelming.
Waziri, maybe in connection to that, leaders, particularly those in the opposition, have accused security agents for allowing goons to attack them in the presence of police officers. Case in point, we saw the group of Cleophas Malala and Natembea being attacked in Chwele, Bungoma County, and they say police are watching as they are being attacked by goons. Perhaps, do you think you owe them an explanation?
Well, I think first, let me say two things. One is that police officers themselves have been attacked. Forget about leaders. We know that police officers have been attacked. As we speak now, a number of our police officers are still on, some of them are in compassionate leave, sort of, just to cool off before they move to other places. The police officers who are operating in Dagoretti and who are living there, whose houses were completely burned and their wares were burned, a lot of them went into shock because it is civilians who wanted to kill them, these goons. Police officers who are in Olkalao, Ndonyonjeru, for example, are still out there because of what happened. So let me say that, so I don't know, those police officers, whom will they accuse now? Maybe they will accuse the minister that he left us, you left us to be attacked by goons. So as a matter of fact, where you face goons, it's very easy to lay blame on the police officers, but it may be important for us to appreciate that some of these organized criminals coming in large numbers, the police officers will have to weigh between a reaction that will lead to death, and sometimes trying to contain the situation. It is the same people who are saying the police watch. It's the same people. If the police touch any one of those goons, these are the same people who are saying the police must be charged and arrested. So the police are got in between, trying to restrain themselves, at the same time enforcing the law. And then, the police also find themselves in between two goons. You want to stop this side, you want to stop this other side, protesters on both sides. So in the absence, and this is the point I wanted to make, in the absence of a statement recorded by any of these politicians, then it becomes very difficult for us to know how exactly what we should be able to do. In fact, they should first file a complaint against the goons, if they know them, and provide evidence, and then the police can investigate. Then we establish where the laxity was. But I can tell you for sure, police officers don't go out of their way out there to see that people are harmed, even in their presence.
But to follow up on that, before my friend should say his question, there have been cases of police officers walking hand in hand with people bearing rungus, bearing jembe, whatever you call the batons, even throwing the stones, against the other group of maybe protesters or something like that. How do you explain that?
For cases where a police officer does that, works with goons, they definitely a disciplinary action is taken against them. Where they use excessive force, the IPO is there to investigate. But let me say this, that the police, for example, cannot go and arrest watchmen holding rungus, protecting businesses. Watchman is acceptable in Kenya. They can't go, you can't go to a place where a watchman is holding their rungu, protecting some business somewhere, and tell them that you are criminals, I must arrest you. In the absence of them misusing that rungu to attack somebody else, it's very difficult for a police officer to arrest them. They will be arresting them for what? So you must also separate those issues. For example, there was a case where in one of the protests where businessmen hired watchmen to take care of their shops. I mean, it would be it would be preposterous for a police officer then to avoid the looters and go for these people hired by business people to take care of their business. But where you see a police officer throwing a stone or being with people who are throwing stones, that is an indiscipline. That's a disciplinary issue. And I'm sure that the relevant institutions will carry out disciplinary measures against them. We don't condone. There is no policy in government where police officers would work with gangs or goons. Remember that the same way I'm telling citizens we cannot condone certain behaviors, we can't also condone them in National Police Service. We have the capability and the capacity to protect our country. Sometimes get overwhelmed in terms of response because you want to protect the citizens. Because if you respond, maybe you will have to use a lot of force, considering the numbers and so forth. That's why there are crowd control measures that are used, including tear gas, water cannon, and so forth. So it's important to investigate every case for what it is, but not to generalize that the whole National Police Service will have committed something.
Okay. Waziri, this is a concern. Actually, it concerns the guys who are talking to here. They are concerned about their safety and security when they are performing their duties. In fact, a number of them here have been victims of recent attacks by the goons, in some instances by the police. So are we safe?
I think the safest people are journalists. Politicians are more in danger than even journalists. I'm saying so because there is a certain level of restraint our police officers have when it comes to journalists. But I know a case, for example, in Nakuru, where a journalist was got in the crossroads. I think a tear gas was lobbied at her directly or something like that. And in that situation, I apologized on behalf of National Police Service and the ministry for the situations that sometimes journalists find themselves in. And today I saw also that regrettably some journalists were really injured in the process of covering some political activity in Nairobi. And so I felt very sad to see some of those people were very injured in the process, and being stoned by thugs. And I hope really we will be lucky to get some of those videos and the evidence using cameras and whatever means, so that DCI can investigate and bring those people to book. Because stoning people who are doing their work is not acceptable. I also want to insist that the media fraternity continue giving journalists in such difficult situations the relevant clothing that identifies them. I think it's of greater help if you wear something like the one Mwena has written KBC, or written your media houses, and I know the various media houses who are here. I think it's important to have that so that we can identify you. But then sometimes it's also dangerous. If somebody had their own issue with a particular media house, they may also go for the journalists for nothing. But I think it's better to have this close working relationship. The Inspector General of Police has always had an open door policy. I hope that more engagement, we can have more engagement. Before protests and even coverage of events like today's, it's important that the local police commander and so forth is aware of where the journalists are and they are covering their work and protect them. But also it's important for journalists to report these cases. Please be reporting, record formal statement. There was an incident where there was this political party that was being launched in Nairobi. And it was so clear, we could see in all the evidence that who did it and why they did it and some characters who had guns. But because it was not government, the journalists didn't want to record statement. They refused. They said, I think they say they will annoy their friends on the opposition side. So I think you need to treat us on both sides equally. If a case involves police officers, report. Like now I'm expecting cases where journalists are attacked by police, it should be reported so that we investigate internally and deal with it. Goons like the one that did today in Nairobi should be reported so that the police can investigate and get the goons. And goons like the one when DCP was launching their party should also be reported. As soon as it became clear that it was an inside job within the party itself, I saw the journalists who were involved ran away, I think, treated themselves and prayed for those political parties. So sometimes that habit is then perpetuated if we don't nip it in the bud. And I take it very seriously that anyone would go out of their way to attack a journalist. I think we take that seriously.
Maybe the last one was really on Gunism. Today we saw the former deputy